Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. We begin this hour with the ongoing search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of our beloved colleague Savannah. The 84-year-old has now been missing for 5 days, and investigators are continuing to look for clues. Yesterday, sheriff's deputies, FBI agents, and canine units searched Nancy Guthrie's home again. And for the first time, they set up crime scene tape on the property. Savannah Guthrie and her siblings shared a video statement on Instagram pleading for the safe return of their mom. Here is some of that video.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She is 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again.
NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin joins us now from Tucson with more on this. Dana, good morning. Obviously, very hard to listen to that video, the heartfelt plea from Savannah and her relatives. Tell us more about the scene at Nancy Guthrie's home yesterday and what investigators have found so far.
Yeah, Joe, good morning to you. That was absolutely gut-wrenching to hear that video. We saw FBI agents, the sheriff's department, even a canine unit at the home of Nancy Guthrie looking for additional clues into what may have happened to her. We also know that they set up crime scene tape for the first time that we have seen since she disappeared. And it appears that they are really going back over that home to make sure that they did not miss anything. We also have learned that they are looking into reports of ransom notes allegedly sent to news organizations. NBC News is aware of that. We have not substantiated that or seen the notes. Law enforcement has not substantiated those notes, but they are currently investigating. Authorities are also looking into what appears to be blood that was found outside of the Guthrie home, and two law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation say that they also realized that her pacemaker appears to have disconnected from its monitoring app in the early morning hours on Sunday, the day she was reported missing. Joe?
Dana, we know support is pouring in for the Guthrie family from all around the nation, all around the world. That does include from the White House. Talk about how President Trump is showing his support.
Yeah, so President Trump called Savannah on Wednesday, and after he talked to her, he posted on Truth Social, writing, "I spoke with Savannah Guthrie and let her know that I am directing all federal law enforcement to be at the family's and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. We are deploying all resources to get her mother home safely. The prayers of our nation are with her and the family. God bless and protect Nancy."
And we know every bit of resources can help right now during this time. Dana, the Tucson community is sharing their love and support with the Guthrie family. Last night, they held a prayer service for Nancy, and we know how much prayer means to the Guthrie family. What are we hearing from people just inside this community?
I mean, people have come near and far in the state of Arizona to show up to prayer vigils like we saw here in Tucson. There was also one held overnight in New York. One of the organizers, Lisa Contreras, she is one of Savannah's former colleagues. She helped organize the prayer vigil here in Tucson. She says she really wanted something to resonate. Listen to part of our conversation.
This community was asked to pray for Nancy. Savannah asked us to do that. She asked us to keep the family in her prayers, and that's what we're trying to do here tonight. There are folks who knew Savannah 30 years ago who are driving down from Phoenix who wanted to be here and wanted to show her their love and their commitment.
What does that say about the Guthries?
Well, it says that the Guthries are an extraordinary family.
Such an extraordinary family, and people in this community say that Nancy is just a complete joy to be around. They are not giving up hope. A reminder, there is a $2,500 reward for information that leads to a break in this case. You can always call the FBI tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Joe?
All right. Yeah, Dana, thank you so much. We'll keep that number up there just a moment longer. Any information on Nancy's disappearance, no tip is too small. Please call that tip line on your screen, 1-800-CALL-FBI. In political news, President Trump says he's looking forward to visiting China in April after speaking with President Xi on Wednesday. The president called it a long and thorough phone call that focused on a variety of issues, including trade and foreign policy. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona joins us to talk about this and some other headlines out of Washington. Mel, the president clearly striking more of an upbeat tone following this call. Just what more are we learning about this conversation from both Washington and also from Beijing?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. So we do know that the Trump president and Chinese president spoke about trade as well as a number of other geopolitical events such as Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine. And after the call, Trump, he called it positive. He said it was excellent. He said it was thorough. He also said they specifically talked about the Chinese government purchasing more soybeans from U.S. farmers. He said there was an agreement to purchase 20 million more tons of soybeans from U.S. farmers this season and 25 million next season. So that would be a pretty big development for U.S. farmers who have been really hurting because of this trade war. But the Chinese government put out their own readout. It was positive, but slightly less effusive. And they said that they brought up Taiwan and urged the United States to tread cautiously. So certainly this call really setting the tone between these two leaders ahead of some critical meetings later this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Some other news, Mel. It looks like Democrats are getting a big boost ahead of this year's midterm elections. That's because the Supreme Court allowed California to use a new congressional map. So walk us through this, what kind of impact this ruling could have, and just some of the reaction we're hearing on both sides of the aisle.
Well, so far, we're at least hearing from Democrats who are, of course, cheering this news. This is a huge victory for congressional Democrats, but also for Governor Gavin Newsom, because he was leading this charge. He also is someone who could run for president in 2028. He wrote on Twitter that Donald Trump said he was entitled to 5 more congressional seats in Texas. He started this redistricting war. He lost, and he'll lose again in November. And as a reminder, this nationwide redistricting battle was started because Trump pushed Texas to redraw their map, which ultimately gave them about 5 more seats in Congress. And then after that, a number of red states and blue states tried to follow suit. That includes California. Their map is going to give them 5 more seats as well for Democrats. So really evening the playing field here, as a number of other states are still in the process of trying to draw their own new maps.
Mel, one more headline. The man who was found guilty of attempting to assassinate then presidential candidate Trump on his Florida golf course in September of 2024. He was sentenced to life in prison yesterday. His name is Ryan Ruth. At his sentencing, what did we hear from the judge, and what did we hear from Ruth himself?
Yeah, so Ruth was given the opportunity to speak before his sentencing. He pulled out this 20-page essay that he tried to read from. He was stopped at several points, though, for lack of relevancy. But he compared himself to Palestinian political prisoners, people in Gaza and Ukraine, kidnapped victims from all around the world. He also went on to say that he has contributed positively to the United States with, quote, caring actions. And he did also request that he be placed in a federal prison that would assist with suicide. But the judge did not respond to that request. However, after he gave his speech, she went on to say that she does not believe that Ruth is a good person, pointing to his prior law enforcement run-ins, as well as the fact that he was so thoroughly preparing for that assassination attempt. Ultimately, he was sentenced to life in prison. Joe.
All right, Mel, thank you so much. Another round of winter weather is in store for millions of Americans this weekend. Angie Lastman joins us now with our Morning News Now forecast. Angie, good morning.
Hi, Joe. Good morning. Unfortunately, I still have some cold alerts for you this morning, and we are going to get a bit of snow in some spots. Let's talk about those alerts first. 11 million people across parts of the interior Northeast. Temperatures really for the eastern half of the country running below normal and up to 20 degrees below normal in some spots. We've got just 25 in Indianapolis, 30 for Boston, 40s for Columbia, and 53 for New Orleans. province. Everybody else essentially warmer than we should be for this time of year. So it's 50s and 60s from Omaha to Amarillo, even 70s for Austin and Tucson. And some of that warmth will spread a little farther to the Gulf Coast by tomorrow. So we'll be looking at kind of some mild conditions. Denver, 67 degrees tomorrow. That is 22 degrees above where we should be. So you get the picture. We're still hanging on to the chillier conditions, but a little more moderate across parts of the far eastern half of the United States, still into the 20s for New York City. But we've got our next system that we're going to watch. We've got winter alerts up for 7 million people. You can see Raleigh, Lumberton, Kinston, all included in there, as well as Greensboro. And here's what we're going to deal with here as we get through the day today. We've got a little bit of that morning snow and ice across the Carolinas. That's why you saw those alerts up. And then we've got this clipper system that's going to start to bring some snow to parts of the Great Lakes. So places like Chicago, Michigan, really the state of Michigan into Ohio, you'll see some of that as well. And then those snow showers slide into parts of the Northeast as we get into tomorrow. And we'll see this kind of extend across parts of the Appalachians. And this leaves us with maybe some slick travel, but definitely some colder temperatures. We're going to see that Arctic air kind of spilling in behind this system. We'll see the winds be quite strong, and those wind chill values are going to be on the dangerous end of things. And specifically, still seeing some of these like kind of light snow showers happening across, again, parts of the interior New England area. Here are those wind gusts. These are going to be important because we could potentially see some power outages, 30, 40 miles per hour, even close to 50-mile-per-hour peak wind gusts in Washington, D.C. as we get through Saturday. And on top of that, we have that really cold air in place. So power outages will be possible with bitter cold temperatures. This is Saturday morning across the Northeast. 10 below is what it'll feel like as you get out the door in Detroit. We've got 15 below for Pittsburgh, single-digit temperatures in Buffalo and feeling like 23 below. Even New York City, sub-zero conditions as you get out into those early morning hours with just a temperature of 16 degrees. This is why we're concerned for folks as they're going to be out and about into the early morning hours of Saturday. Notice even Saturday afternoon, we end up into the mid-20s. Doesn't feel much better. New York City still into the single digits, Joe. We're still sub-zero for the wind chill values in Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, winter is still having its grips on us at this point.
It's here. Winter has moved in.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks, Angie. Appreciate it. One of the most prestigious storied newspapers in the nation is grappling with a major shakeup that is rocking the media industry. The Washington Post announced it is laying off a third of its staff yesterday. A spokesperson for the outlet said it was making difficult decisions about its future. The sweeping cuts were felt all across the paper, impacting several departments, including national and local news coverage. And the Post is just totally shutting down the sports department. NBC News business and economy reporter Allie Canal joins us to talk more about this. We know it's tough to be a newspaper right now. Ad sales are declining. There's more digital competition. Still, it's owned by Jeff Bezos, the fourth richest man in the world. So a lot of people say if anyone can keep a newspaper afloat, it's Jeff Bezos. Why is this happening, and what all is being impacted at the paper?
Yeah, it's a fair question, certainly one that current and former Post employees are asking right now. And the business problems that you mentioned, declining ad revenue, this shift when it comes to how consumers are actually reacting and integrating themselves with the news, that's changed, and that's all been part of this decision. And it shows that even newsrooms backed by these billionaires, they're not insulated by these types of problems. Just a little bit of color here on the Post. Jeff Bezos purchased this newspaper in 2013 for about $250 million. He is now worth $260 billion. That's billion with a B. But the paper has been operating at a loss. Leadership has said that it wants to break even by the end of 2026. One of the quote unquote easiest ways to do that is through conducting these types of layoffs. You mentioned roughly 1/3 of the newsroom has been affected. That's more than 300 journalists across the entire globe. It's affected units like Metro, editing, international, sports, podcasts, like you mentioned, and even local coverage. We've heard of bureau chiefs that have lost their jobs, even foreign correspondents that are out in Ukraine, all reporting that they have been laid off.
Strong response, obviously, to this. What are we hearing from some current employees, but also some well-known former employees, too?
Yeah, really, reporters and journalists outside of the Post have been reacting to this, but we have heard from some pretty prominent figures, one of those names being former Washington Post editor Marty Barron. He led the newsroom through much of the growth under Bezos, and he called this, quote, one of the darkest days in the paper's history. He went on to say that he does remain personally grateful for the support of Jeff Bezos during his years running the newsroom, including when Bezos faced intense pressure from President Trump during his first term. But Barron did say that that commitment appears to be fading. He added, and this is his line, "I wish I detected the same spirit today. There is no sign of it."
The Post had already dialed back some of its coverage, but still some of these cuts we're seeing are pretty surprising, including like the podcasting unit. Podcasting is obviously like the thing right now. How do we think this is going to reshape this newsroom and the fears that it could jeopardize public trust? I mean, we're talking about a storied newspaper. The Watergate coverage alone is what makes this place so iconic.
Yeah, and that's what makes this so striking. You have this legendary newspaper that exposed Watergate, so much accountability reporting. But even with that legacy, we're seeing these larger term questions when it comes to survival of newspapers. And you, like you mentioned, it's coming at a time where a lot of Americans, they trust local news more than national coverage. And that's the biggest concern here, that when you have these layoffs, the scope that is so deep, not only are you preventing the type of coverage you can report on, but you are also eliminating that access that Americans have grown to trust. So it's all a big concern here, and it's this overarching question that a lot of folks out there are asking themselves.
And so often we know as national organizations, we know to cover something because the locals cover it first because they have their pulse on the community, and then it can grow and become a bigger national story. So another issue there. Allie, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.